How much iodine do you take?
I take in the form of kelp. I don't know how much it works out
All
to,
right, so
but
here's it. Let me give you something. We can do another talk.
yeah.
Start on higher dose iodine. There's not enough in kelp. And remember, if the kelp is grown in a polluted area of the ocean, the kelp has
Mm,
sodium iodine symporter, which can be overrun with bromide or fluoride and kick out iodine, just like the human body. I've never found kelp a great source because I years ago I tested brands of kelp for iodine and bromide and the halides, and different batches have different amounts of
mm,
iodine. Some were high in bromide, some were
mm.
it was mostly bromide and iodine,
Yeah.
interchangeable things. But the iodine was so variable. And anyway, my feeling is in our polluted world with so much bromide and fluoride around, you can't get enough iodine in sea products anymore to kick out enough bromide and fluoride to make the body healthy. So what I found is that iodine can lower that fibrinogen level down, higher dose iodine. Now, most of my patients coming into this illness were on iodine. If they were previous patients of mine, they were already taking iodine because, I probably have 90, I don't know, 95 to 99% of my patients on iodine. The only ones that aren't on it usually have a side effect with it, which aren't many, or I guess the ones who just kind of forget to take it after a while, but most people are on it. And
How much are they taking? I tell you, when I've given patients the iodine, it's affected their TSH, affected their thyroid. So I had to watch that TSH very carefully with the iodine
okay, so I think that I will remind you.
of your book.
Well,
Yeah,
the book, I'm looking for the chapter in that book.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
um, I think it's chapter 6, but of that.
Yeah.
Um, and a normal and expected response of giving people iodine who are iodine deficient is their TSH goes up. And it's not signifying hypothyroidism in the vast majority of people. Because if you check T3 and T4 levels, they're normal.
Yeah.
And um, and you ask them how they're feeling, they'll tell you usually feeling better from the iodine or feeling okay, feeling fine. There's no complaints
Mm.
of, no increased complaints of hypothyroidism. Um, and what the TSH does is it stimulates sodium iodine symporter. So if you think about it, the thyroid gland, which sits here, weighs 1.5 ounces. It produces a teaspoon of thyroid hormone for a whole year. It can only produce that thyroid hormone if there's enough iodine. Now, in our pretty much the entire world, but particularly if you look at the WHO statistics, there's iodine deficiency throughout the entire world. And the more we overfarm our fields and um, industrialize our food products, the more iodine deficient we become as a people. So our iodine needs as a people now, 2023, is higher than what our parents and grandparents' iodine needs were in 1950 and 1960. Because they weren't exposed to so many toxins like we are now in our modern, all these, all our modern conveniences, and the world's more polluted now. So iodine concentrates in the thyroid gland, it concentrates in the breast, the ovaries, pancreas, uterus, all the other glandular tissue as well. And so the body has set up an intricate mechanism to concentrate iodine against a gradient. It requires an ATP molecule to do that. It requires magnesium to do that. And so iodine can go from higher in the blood to lower in the thyroid via this sodium iodine symporter. It's like a taxi cab that moves it across the cell membrane. It's an energy dependent process, so you use an energy molecule to do that. There's when you're low on iodine, if and generally my I don't know how South African soil is. The U.S. soil is really low in iodine.
Mm.
Um,
Well, I think it's
and
probably even worse. We had Zach Bush out here saying we're the number one glyphosate used in the world, more than the States.
so, when the human body, we were designed pretty darn well. Not complaining about our design. Well, I might complain about knees. We should have had better design in our knees that we should be able to do hard sports till we're old age without screwing up our knees. But anyways, um, we're designed pretty well, and what we're not designed to do is leave these taxi cabs, these sodium iodine symporters, just idling on the membrane of the thyroid, waiting for iodine to come to put it in there. If there's no iodine, those symporters go away, and we just function in a low iodine state. And luckily, we're designed. to survive a low iodine state. And it's been through humankind's existence. If you look at some of those, we were in Italy right before the crisis, and I remember walking through the Vatican and looking at all those old paintings. You could see all these goiters in these women, in their old paintings, from time of Christ, so 2,300 years ago. Iodine deficiency and goiter has been known to occur in human existence probably since the beginning of humans. I don't know exactly when, but when you take iodine, the first thing the body does is have to make more taxicabs, sodium iodine symporters, to move that iodine into the thyroid, into the breasts, into the ovaries, into the uterus, into the prostate, the pancreas, and wherever else it needs to go. And so what stimulates those taxicabs to be made is TSH. So it is normal and it's expected in someone who's iodine deficient when they take iodine, and I don't want to use the word high amounts because I don't think it's high amounts. I think it's sufficient amounts, but in higher amounts of iodine, that TSH will go up in order to stimulate these symporters to be produced. Once enough iodine gets in the thyroid, the ovaries, uterus, breast, prostate, pancreas, TSH comes down. And it takes about, in the average person, 3 to 6 months. So many people misinterpret that TSH as, I'm making them hypothyroid. It's iodine-induced hypothyroidism. Well, all you got to do is ask the patients, how do you feel? No, look, some people don't feel good with vitamin C. Some people don't feel good with magnesium. Some people feel lousy when they drink water. But some people do feel lousy when they take iodine too. They're in my experience, it's a very, when iodine is used as part of a holistic treatment regimen with enough salt in coming in with it, that the side effects from iodine, which I think are related to bromine toxicity and bromine being released and fluoride probably being released, that they get overloaded, that just doesn't happen. And the vast majority of people feel better. We have I believe 6 practitioners in my office right now seeing patients, and the vast majority of our patients are on iodine. If we were causing this massive hypothyroid or Hashimoto's epidemic in our practice, A, we'd be out of business, and B, we'd be hearing about it patient after patient. We don't hear about it because our patients seem to do pretty well with it. So